PSAI, the Professional Speakers Association of India. So till now, I had the impression that we can speak. I can speak on any subject. You ask me, I will speak on motivation, on studies, on concentration, on productivity. Everything I can speak. I'm a master of none. Generally, I'm a generalist. I know a little of everything. But when I entered PSAI, all this changed drastically. This is a world of professional speaking, where speaking is the profession and it is taken very, very seriously. So before I continue, let me just see. I have Yebi Jan here. So nice to see you, Yebi Jan. Good evening. So let me see if there are any other guests. Please do share your name and where you're logging in from. It will be lovely to hear you on my chat, so I can give you a shout out, and I will feel welcome that you are there to listen to us today. So let me just continue. So when I realized that there is more to professional speaking than meets the eye, that is where Professional Speakers India of Association uh, comes in and bridges the gap, where they teach us the business of speaking. When you want to make speaking your business, there are so many things you need to learn, to upgrade, to evolve. And let me tell you, in my past 1 year journey in PSAI has been nothing short of revolutionary for me, because the things that I learned, the windows and avenues it opened up, just being a part of PSAI, made me realize that there is a lot more that goes into saying you are a professional speaker. There is a lot of work that you have to do on your side to brand yourself as a professional speaker. And this is where I learned the ropes, and I am still learning. So, Professional Speakers India, Association of India, for our new audience members, this is an association formed to build a strong community to help you enhance your professional speaking career globally. So now we are global. We are no more saying Indian. We are going straight away. We are given a platform where we can launch ourselves as world class speakers. The PSAI is part of the Global Speakers Federation, an organization of 17 national speaking associations of 17 countries, which include USA, Canada, Australia, New Zealand, UK, Malaysia, South Africa, and more. So, we at the PSAI, we believe that anyone, absolutely anyone, who is an expert in their work area or has lived a life with many lessons, must share their message with the world. And so that's where I also learned my lesson, so to speak, that what you need to speak about is your experience, your journey, and that's how you come and find your niche in what you excel at, in what you can make an impact with on other people's lives. Because at the base of it, when we go out to speak, we want to help other people improve their lives the same way our life was improved when we went through all those difficulties or challenges. So, this PSAI talk show is one step in that direction. We have this live event twice a month where we bring you people from PSAI. So, this event is for PSAI by PSAI, where we showcase our members, their journeys, their challenges, how they evolved, and the golden messages that they impart to us as a result of their life journey. So let me just have a look at the members and guests who are on logged in now. Okay, nice. Ram Prasad Lal says he's from Faridabad and Yabijan is from Trishur. Okay, that's good. And I'm from Bangalore, and our guest today is from Delhi. Wow, a truly Indian community here today. So let's proceed. If I have to talk about our guest today, there is a lot that I can say. He is um, an authority in so many subjects. Let me just try to skim the surface by telling you a little about him. He is a coach and consultant by profession, a consciousness practitioner by passion, and a speaker and educator by choice. He has 40 years experience comprising consultancy, executive leadership, coaching, and teaching. He has spoken on international platforms like Oxford and ISUD, and Indian platforms like IOD and DMA. A fellow chartered accountant, FCA. He's also a PG in theology, an ICF certified coach. He has certifications in brain science, mindfulness, appreciative inquiry. Wow, that's the first time I'm hearing of this. Stress management, and many more. Very, very well learned, well studied person who is our guest today. Not only that, he is a faculty at BITS Pilani for Strategic Management and Business Policy, the Ubiquo Business School, Miami, Neuro Leadership and Mindfulness, and DEI Theology. He is the president elect of Delhi chapter for the coming year, which is a part of the Professional Speakers of India, Professional Speakers Association of India. And he is also a consultant to the Stanford Seed Program. Now, this person, our guest today, Sandeep Gupta, he is known for breaking the complex into simple actionables. He empowers leaders and businesses to build conscious workspaces, culturally agile organizations, solution driven, innovative, and inclusive mindset, high performance teams, and profit maximization strategies for quantum growth. And his mantra is to excel and thrive in life. Nothing less than an integrated approach works, and nothing more is needed. So please put your hands together to welcome today's eminent guest, Sandeep Gupta, the consciousness expert. Thank you very much, Sandeep, for being here today. You are muted, yes. And before we
Yes.
continue and before I ask you questions, let me welcome Ajit Kumar from Chennai, Neena, who is also from Chennai, Purva is from Vadodara. Nice. Welcome, all of you. Welcome to this session. I hope you are enjoying it as much as I am already. And the thrill of, wanting to learn from Sandeep Gupta is really high now for me. So let us start, Sandeep. So
Okay,
nice to
now,
have you. Yes.
Chimo, before you ask me a question,
Hmm.
right, let me make a confession. Okay?
Yes.
To be invited by your peers, to be heard, to speak, to interact with them, I think that is the biggest validation a person can have. So thank you, PSAI. Thank you, Chimo, for inviting me. I'm very happy and excited to share whatever little I know about the subject consciousness about which we are going to talk today. So thank you, Chimu, and thank you, PSAI.
Thank you, sir, because you're so humble. That is so wonderful. In spite
Hmm.
of, having so many degrees and everything, it's really what you are is a wonderful person. So let's begin because I'm really curious to know the answer to this question. So when you described yourself, you said, I'm a consciousness expert. So my first question to you would be, what exactly is consciousness?
What exactly is consciousness? Okay, so let me start with asking you a question. Okay, you're seeing this, this Buddha in my
Yes.
hand,
Yes.
right? Now, what is the difference between the Buddha in my hand and the Buddha in you, the Buddha in me, and the Buddha in everyone? What is the difference? Let me tell you. The difference is consciousness. Now, obviously, you'll say, what rubbish Sandeep is saying. From the time I've been born, I've been conscious. My consciousness is growing every day. I'm surviving. I'm achieving my goals. I'm happy. I'm swinging between pleasure and displeasure. I'm swinging between success and failure. That's a part of life. What rubbish is Sandeep saying? You're absolutely right. But the thing is, you are aware. From the time you are born, you have been aware, your awareness is growing, and awareness is sufficient to lead a mediocre life. You are not conscious. Awareness is knowing about the existence of a particular thing. Consciousness is a state of being where you have full knowledge of that thing. Now, let me give you an example. All of us know we have a Rashtrapati Bhavan in India, in Delhi. The President of India lives in that structure. This is awareness. Now, for it to get into our consciousness, we got to experience, see, experience, learn more, have in depth knowledge about Rashtrapati Bhavan. So, when we go towards consciousness, the first point is becoming aware. And to exist in life, in the world we live, awareness is more than sufficient. It helps us to sail through, it helps us to achieve, it helps us to fail, to pass. Uh, well, I'll just continue because I think we have. Have you been disconnected?
Sorry, uh,
Okay.
you decided to be consciously throw me out. Okay.
Okay. Yeah. So I was saying that awareness is sufficient to live a life in this world. It is sufficient for us to take action, to achieve, to succeed, to fail, but it is not sufficient to excel and thrive. To excel and thrive, we have to use consciousness, which is a much deeper concept than awareness. And it applies to us, we professional speakers, all the more for the simple reason the variety of people we interact with. Sometimes you're speaking in colleges, sometimes you're speaking in schools, sometimes you're speaking with the corporate world, sometimes you're speaking with housewives or the social sector. The variety of people you find, they come with variety of intelligentsia, they come with a variety of consciousness and awareness. So for us to be conscious, it becomes very essential so that we are accepted. Now, in this background, let me try and answer your question: what is consciousness? Consciousness, what is consciousness? The history of this question is as old as human history. Over the years, a number of schools of thoughts have come in. Each have interpreted it its own way. Each have fought. And even today, that debate, that fight, looking at it from various angles, spiritual angle, ontological angle, neurological angle, right? Philosophical angle, all these things are happening. But steering away from all this thing, what I'll be focusing on is the functional dimension of consciousness, the operative part of consciousness, which helps us to improve our life. So we'll leave all these debates for the intellectuals, for the scientists, and all those people. Let's focus on our lives.
Wonderful, wonderful. I will just cut you here because I want to ask you more questions about this further along the line.
Yes.
If I may, yeah. So what I learned now is consciousness is being aware, but we need to be aware, and also we need to be have knowledge about it, so that we can go deeper into it and learn about it. I think in layman's terms, that is what I have taken so far. I hope to learn more as we go forward. But I really am curious about this one aspect, Sandeep. You have studied as a chartered accountant, and then you have studied so many other things, and now you are a speaker. So I'm very curious. Could you tell me about your speaking journey? How did it come about?
Speaking journey. Okay. Before I answer your question, let me complete the first thing and give you the definition of consciousness so that going forward, all of us are on the same page.
Sure,
Okay.
sure. Please carry on.
Uh, Consciousness for me is that innate quality which we have, which empowers us to be aware of what's happening outside us. This innate quality automatically, reflexively falls back inside us, which gives us the subjective experience and makes us self-aware, self-knowledgeable. And when we become self-aware and self-knowledgeable, our conscience develops, which means the discretionary power to to decipher between the right and the wrong. And as that happens, new realities of self, realities of the universe open before us, and we start climbing the ladder. We start operating from a higher level because consciousness can be easily described as a spectrum with various stations of human personality. At the top is the cosmic personality, at the base is the egoic personality. I'll say at the base is selfishness, I, me, my. At the top is uh, we are us, all inclusive selflessness. So consciousness evolution, which I'll be talking about later, is climbing this ladder, understanding greater realities within us and the universe, and using them in our life to excel and thrive. Now, coming to your question, my journey. You see, as a child, as far as I remember, I was very active in theater, school theater. I was always on the stage, but somehow the other, I could never muster up the courage to go and speak in a debate. Though I used to envy those guys, it's rather paradoxical. I'm on stage, not scared, but yes, I was scared to go and speak. And probably when I look back, my circumstances of growing up, they had an impact on me. Anyway, fast forward, college, 1971. Not prepared to speak, still one day I find myself, I just stand on the desk and give a lecture or a speech. It was election time and I win. I say, hey guy, you can speak on and off, laziness, this thing, that thing. The real serious speaking came in 2013 when I was heading TCG Life Sciences as their head corporate affairs. And I was invited by SMS, School of Management, Banaras, for to give a keynote in the International Conference on Spirituality and Management. I was nervous. Yes, I was nervous, I'll admit that. Because the guy sitting on the podium on the stage with me were the regional head of Ramakrishna Mission. People of that caliber, and I, a nobody, going there and speaking on philosophy of consciousness. Anyway, I spoke, and when after the 30, 35, 40 minutes, the gentleman says, you have given something on which you can write an entire book. I said, okay, this means I speak sense. It is acceptable and I can speak. And from then on, I've been speaking. 2014 was ISUD in Romania. 2015 was Oxford. 2016 was Poland. So, and then I've been speaking on and off. So that was a little snapshot of my speaking journey. And like you said, I was looking for a platform to polish my speaking skills And that is when I found PSAI.
Wonderful. So wonderful. I totally agree. This is the right platform to polish our skills. But since you are already an international speaker, I wonder how much polishing you will do, or you will be polishing us.
Uh, I don't think
Okay.
so, Chimo, because learning is a constant process, And the day you kill your curiosity, that is the day when you seize the process of consciousness evolution or climbing the ladder.
Wow. Very profound, very profound. And so absolutely true. Keep learning lifelong. So I want to ask you this next question, which I find very intriguing because you just explained about consciousness and the levels of consciousness. So then this question comes from that. It the question is the quality of our consciousness determines our success and failure because you said there are so many levels. So could you explain about this?
Sure. Chimu, you have the best of eyes, 6 by 6, normal, perfect vision, right? In the dark, what distance can you see? The distance is determined by the power of the torch you are holding. If the cells are weak and the light emitting is just 20 feet, you will not see beyond 20 feet. If it's a big torch, you could see 100 feet. Okay. Similarly, our consciousness, the quality of our consciousness determines to what extent we are successful or how easily success comes to us, right? Let me put it that way. Interestingly, you know what happens? When you buy something new and you don't know how it operates, you'll go through the manuals, you'll go through YouTube looking at the videos, right? You'll be asking friends, experimenting, and then you'll say, oh, I've got it. But when it comes to managing ourselves, it comes to managing the human machinery or changing the human machinery or altering the human machinery, we just straightway jump into it, believing that we know everything and we can manage it. Okay, we don't bother to see the dynamics. To answer your question, how does consciousness impact? We'll have to, I'll quickly look at two things, the human construct and the spectrum of consciousness. Okay, as far as the human construct is concerned, uh, we are made of three energies: the spirit energy, the mind energy, and the physical energy, the body energy. Right. Now, the three of them have to work in sync for us to flourish and live. If out of this equation we remove the soul energy, what happens? We die. Let's bring it back. We remove the mind, what happens? You become a vegetable. Let's bring it back. You remove the physical energy, what happens? You don't exist. Your entity is over, the physical entity. Now, what is the construct? The spirit energy, which is the core energy, is in the center. Around the spirit energy is the mind energy, and around the mind energy is the physical energy. Now, the spirit energy is all love, mutuality, wisdom, selflessness. The physical energy, right, that's the body, knows only three things: satisfaction, survival, and multiplication, is all selfish. And the mind in between keeps on oscillating between the soul energy and the body energy. When it moves towards the body, it behaves selfishly. And when it moves towards the soul, it behaves selflessly. Now, this is a constant process, okay? So it's constantly oscillating. And if you look at your own behavior, your thoughts, the last 24 hours or the last 48 hours, you will find inconsistency in them. Sometimes you are very selfless, sometimes you are very selfish, different degrees. Okay, this is constantly happening. Now, this is part one. Behind this thing, what is happening? The consciousness. There are multiple levels, like I said, but okay, for sake of brevity, for sake of convenience of understanding, I'll talk of just four levels, four broad levels. Physical level, on top of that is the vital level, on top of that is the mental level, on top of that is the spiritual level. Now, the physical level is just about survival. It's just about survival. It's absolutely selfish. The vital level on top of it, you know, is more than survival. Their emotions, their aims, their goals, but at the same time, and a person is living life, but at the same time, the five evils of mind, that is lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego, are dominant. Well, at the physical level, they're ferociously dominant. At the vital level, probably 10-degree less, but still ferociously dominant. And when you are operating from that level, what happens till the time your needs and wishes are being met? You're very sweet. The moment you find a threat to them, your animal instincts just explode, and you could be as vindictive as ever. On top of that is the mental plane of existence. Now, this mental plane of existence, right, is of the higher thoughts, logic, rationality, self introspection, etc., etc. And this is the place where you start, associating yourself with other people, you start collaborating, etc., etc. And you become self aware. And when you see the negatives in you, you try to suffuse them. I'm using the word suffuse because we are energies and energies cannot be destroyed. And on top is the spiritual zone. Once you go there, then the reflexive download of energy, your intuition, etc., happens. Now, like I explained earlier, when a stimulus hits us, or when we take a thought into play, or we decide on something, it all depends at which level are we operating from. Because purpose, thoughts, and actions, they need to be aligned for success, right? And if you are operating from the consciousness of a physical frame or physical level, you can very well imagine what the results would be. Now, and to give you an example, let's take the case of Satyam. Everyone knows Satyam was a beautiful organization. But since Raja operated from the physical level, greed took over and he ruined Satyam. Then it was taken over by Anand Mahindra, which is called Tech Mahindra now. Same set of people, same expertise, everything is the same. But since Anand Mahindra operated or operates from the mental zone of consciousness, it is again a thriving organization. So, this is the way, your level of consciousness from which you operate impacts your success or failure. Well, there are much more details to it, but I think because of the paucity of time, I've just gave you a stadium view of the entire thing.
Yes, when I heard your answer, I realized there is so much more to what you were saying because there are so many things that you shared just now. Let me just try. There are five types of uh, vital in the emotions which which are dominant in us: lust, anger, greed, attachment, and ego. And you went on saying the about the levels of the spirit, the physic, the spirit, mental, body, and there were so many more that you wanted to share. I understand the paucity of time, but what I really took away from this is your example. How far can you see in the dark? It's the power of the torch that you have. So it doesn't matter whether you're wearing glasses or not. It's the power of the torch. That is so so profound, and it really hit me. This is one thing I will take away today. This example, very very, to the point, and so so impactful for me actually when I heard that. So I'm really, having all these deep thoughts when I'm talking to you, and I'm thinking, in what level am I interacting, and all these thoughts are coming with to me when I'm interacting with others, whether I am doing it in a right way or not. So I want to ask you about your mantra. You actually have a mantra by which you live by, which I find so so nice, because not many of us can say that we have that guiding principle written down in black and white. So your mantra says that to excel and thrive, nothing more than an integrated approach works. So I would like to hear more about this, Sandeep. Could you please elaborate?
Yeah, so simple. I just gave the example of the spirit, mind, and body working in tandem. So that was integration, right? We breathe oxygen, right? So we retain oxygen and throughout the balance, which means if we have pure oxygen, it'll do us wonders. Try doing it. You'll damage your lungs. So it is the integration of nitrogen and oxygen together which soothes you. And then you pull out the oxygen and throw out the balance. Similarly, have you ever seen that, okay, your mind, your brain, obviously they work together because mind gets the information, brain processes the information. And the third angle is the way you react to the information, the way you react to the people, the way you react to situations. These three things, the mind, the brain, and your reaction quotient, let me put it this way. When they are in sync, you flourish. When they are not in sync, there's chaos, agitation, anger, or confusion. This reminds me of a quote of Martin Luther King Jr. If you permit me, I'll just read it out.
Yes,
Whatever
please.
effect, whatever affects one directly, whatever affects one directly, affects all indirectly. I can never be what I ought to be until you are what you ought to be. This is the interrelated structure of reality. Because in life, at every stage, you are at a crossroad. And this is the reason I say in life, you've got to bring the future into the present. See the larger picture, use your consciousness, see the larger picture, join the dots, and throw the future back into the future so that when it goes back, you have a path to walk upon. So, what are you doing over here? Again, you are integrating the present and the future. Give me one example where everything is absolutely linear. I don't think so. There's anything linear. Everything is networked. Everything affects everything, and everything is affected by everything. I hope I've been able to answer your question.
Yes, yes. So let me just share what I understood of this. The main point which really struck me was everything is networked, everything is affected by everything. So, in the same way, our mind and brain and reaction should be in sync for us to survive or to thrive, not to survive, to thrive. So our reaction depends on how our brain and mind are in sync to what we actually react. I hope I have
What,
been able to.
as a small correction, right? Our reactions are determined by our past experiences. And this is the reason, that there's a fad of let go, let go, let go these days. Everyone is talking because those
Yes.
are the negative experiences which we have and we
Hmm.
react accordingly. But when you develop your consciousness, right, and you operate from a higher level,
Hmm.
then you stop reacting, you start responding. And that makes the entire difference.
So reactions are influenced by our past, and we need to let go to stop reacting and start responding. Very nice, so beautifully put, and so deep, no? So deep. It's very true. So we have spoken about the different levels of consciousness and how our reaction or response depends on how well we are able to integrate all these things and live in today's world. So I want to ask you, a very practical kind of a question. As a speaker, and since PSAI is the Association for Speakers, how can speakers use consciousness when they are on stage?
Well, I love this question. I really love this question. As I've said, consciousness is a state of being. Consciousness is a state of being. It is not something that, while going on stage, we just switch it on, it operates, we are off stage, finishes, okay, we come back home, put it in the cupboard or in the locker
I'm just imagining it.
till the next time. It doesn't happen that way. Okay, so we have to look at this thing at two levels. One is preparing yourself as a speaker and self management on stage. Okay, now I've been hearing a lot, that speakers are supposed to perform. Speakers are supposed to perform. Speakers are supposed to perform. Personally, I don't agree with this view. Speakers are supposed to transform. They are
Wow.
supposed to add value by their talks, and the talks have to be inspiring, right? They have to be inspiring, influencing, and motivating. And when can the talks become inspiring, influencing, and motivating? They can become inspiring, influencing, and motivating for the audience only when, number one, we are comfortable in our own skin. We don't try to imitate the successful because each one is unique in himself or herself. Number two, we connect with the heart. Number three, we speak from the heart with a service attitude. Number four, since we are supposed to transform, add value, or provide solutions, and we also know that you that to find a solution, you got to operate from a higher level of consciousness than the consciousness which created that problem. So you also need to be, or you should at least try to be one step above the audience, okay, and operate from a higher level of consciousness. Now, what I find a lot of speakers, they go there, they speak, give a lot of knowledge. Personally, I believe, well, God bless them. But the truth is that knowledge today in the world of internet is available a dime a dozen. Okay, now to give that, to connect and to give those solutions, obviously, like we discussed earlier, as we ascend the ladder of consciousness, we start seeing new realities, we start operating from higher realities. Nothing changes externally, but that's an internal mental revolution. You connect better, you speak better, your intuition starts working, and now you're on stage. So obviously, because of your levels of consciousness, you're connecting better, speaking better. And a number of times, what happens, Chimo? The audience are attentive, and there could be one person in the audience who comes up with a nasty remark, who could do something very mischievous, you know, which is sufficient to put you off balance. Now, since consciousness evolution helps us to find the gap between our mind and ourselves, and we know that we are not the mind is a fantastic instrument which helps us to organize knowledge and make it operational. But at the same time, mind also weaves a lot of stories, which might be real and might not be real. So that is the time when you use your intuition, you respond to the needs of the audience, and in case there's a nasty person in the audience who tries to throw you off balance, you get that distance between the mind, your mind and yourself, and you carry on and deliver. But let me share with you an incident of last week. I was invited by a university, to address their MBA second year students who are going in for this thing, campus placement, an internship. I was very excited. It was one of the top notch universities. But to my surprise, rowdy batch of 60 kids, gross indiscipline, and I was taken aback. So, what was working in my mind was 75 minutes, I got to be with them. How will I manage? My consciousness training came in and saved me. I continued, I managed them, and after, I didn't allow their antics to impact me. I kept that distance, I kept my mind aside, right? I was able to do that. And after the session, while I was sitting with the pro vice chancellor, right, I get a message that the students are saying this was one of the best interactive sessions they have had. And interestingly, out of those 55, 60 rowdy kids, next day I find 15 have started following me on LinkedIn. So this means definitely they must have got something or seen something. So again, this was more of a stadium view, but yes, I shared a person's story where, as a speaker, it came to my rescue and it helped me.
Amazing, amazing. You couldn't have put it better than the story because we learn through stories, and I can just picture those MBA students because most of us who have started a speaking journey began as trainers. So we've all faced a rowdy group of kids. So we know how challenging it is to get their attention, leave alone, hold it for 75 minutes. So absolutely, you have lived your talk. You have lived what you are speaking with, and it is very clearly seen. Wonderful. So let me just rephrase or share whatever I learned from this for speakers. You said we have to be comfortable, don't imitate others, connect with the heart, and speak from the heart with a service attitude. Find a solution because the problem was created in one level, the solution is found in the higher level of consciousness. So be aware of that. Be one level higher in consciousness in the audience so that when you are having somebody from the audience who is maybe disrupting, then you need to be able to deal with it from a higher level of consciousness. and you so nicely, showed us all this with this story. Wonderful. I think all of us can learn from this, because as a speaker, we can expect to find people who are not, really in tune when we start speaking. And it is up to us to transform, like you said, and inspire, like you have done. Wonderful. So again, I want to come back to us, and down to earth, practical, because I want you to share some methods. I heard you in the beginning of this talk. You said that there is a Buddha in each of us. So can you share some practical methods how each of us in our busy world we can access the Buddha in us?
Very simple. The foundational block of life and the universe is love and intelligence, right? Practice bring love into your purpose, thoughts, and actions. Unfortunately, love today has come to be associated with the emotional dimension which you share with your spouse, with your friends, with your children, with your parents. And we call that love. Yes, that is just a small reflection of love. In fact, that is infatuation or affection or what's the other word? Okay, infatuation, affection, or attachment. Okay, love is basically a state of being which stands on four legs: the legs of trust, the leg of respect, the leg of compassion, and the leg of mutuality. Okay, so when you practice these four legs and you bring them into your life, the Buddha starts awakening, because then you're aligning yourself with the higher laws of nature. Okay, and from the process point of view, it starts with being mindful, being in the present. That enables you to observe what is happening outside you and what's happening inside you. The reactions I was talking about, right? And when you start observing those reactions, emotional intelligence comes into play. How do you manage those reactions? And once emotional intelligence comes into play, then you develop the ability to look beyond yourself, look beyond your ego. And then you don't treat the other people as objects of your gratification. You treat them subjects like yourself. You don't control and command, you start collaborating. Okay? And then develops your discretion, that power which deciphers the right from the wrong. And when you develop that, you start developing your intuition. Intuition is the voice of the spirit intelligence, because the spirit intelligence, mental intelligence, and body intelligence, all the three are working 24 by 7 in sync. They're working together. It's a different matter. Our mental intelligence, tells the spirit intelligence, shut up, don't speak, I know best. So that's a different matter, right? So then your intuition starts working. And when your intuition starts working, you get the integral vision of the universe and yourself. Your Buddha is fully awakened. So it's not difficult. And guys, let me share with you, just practice four things: attention management, observation. Observe what is happening inside you and outside you. Whenever any impulse hits you, right? Take a pause, don't react. You'll find you'll start responding. And lastly, accept. Accept reality the way it is, not with riders or justifications. I failed because I got late. No, man. You failed because you have failed. Accept that you have failed. The reasons and justification can come later. So, Chimo, if you want, I can just keep going on, but I think what I was told, the time factor,
Yes, yes, absolutely. So I love this, the way you brought it, right down to our daily life, where we can, all of us can start finding the Buddha in us by being mindful, by being in the present, small things which we can immediately apply in our lives and, be aware of what is happening around us, inside us, so that we can make better choices. So I like that, and I think it's very, very practical and immediately applicable. So thank you for that. So, like we just saw, we have a few minutes left. So I would like to now go to the rapid fire round. So just answer immediately, don't think about it. And I'll start with a very easy question. In the meanwhile, can I request the audience, if you have any questions, please share them in the chat so that once we finish the rapid fire, we will have a few minutes to take up any questions that you may have. I know there'll be so many questions, and I'm sure Sandeep has also got a lot more to share. But 1 hour is just not enough to get the whole, amazing depth of his knowledge. So let's move on to the rapid fire. So I'll just ask you a nice, easy question to start off with. What is the book that you're reading now?
oh, the book I'm reading now is called Orbit Shifting, right? It is an internal shift, which promotes innovation rather than incremental improvement.
Who is the
Again,
author?
it's written by Rajiv Narang and Devika, and
Okay.
it's a brilliant book, and Anand Mahindra has recommended it highly.
Wow. Okay. All
Yeah,
of us out there, let's take note of this orbit shifting, a book to be
Orbit
read.
Shifting. Yeah.
So the next question: if you are given a choice between, living on a beach or in a mountain, what would you choose?
Basically, I'm a mountain person. I don't hate beaches. I love beaches for reasons, but I'm a mountain person. Yeah.
Okay. So would you describe yourself as very serious or a little humorous too?
I'll say it's a 60-40 thing. Being an Aquarian, I don't mind being the clown, right? I don't mind being letting my hair down. But yes, then there are times when you've got to really contemplate, be serious. So I'll say 65-35, 60-40,
All
whatever
right.
percentage will be good. Yeah.
Okay, I'll take it as it is, 60-40.
Huh.
So if you had a choice between giving a prepared speech or an impromptu speech, what would be yours?
Well, that'll depend on the subject and the audience. Okay. If they're audience like you, it has to be prepared.
Huh, why? I don't mind impromptu. Okay.
Yeah.
So if you like to stay at home, or would your preference be to travel?
No, yeah, I'm a person who loves to travel and unorthodox travel, not the tourist travel. Go there, allow the place to sink into you.
Okay.
That's
Nice.
the
I
kind of
have few
travel.
more questions, but I will stop because we have one question from the audience. Yabijan is asking, what is one simple technique to bring us to the present instantly and to be mindful? I think this is a very good question because most of us are so distracted
Yes.
nowadays.
Abhijan, the mother of all exercises is focus on your breath exercise. Bring your attention to your nostrils. Okay. Close your eyes, and your job is for 5 minutes. Just try to feel the sensation of the air going in and the sensation of the air going out. What's going to happen after a few seconds? Your mind would go here, there, your attention would go everywhere. The moment you realize your attention has gone away, bring it back to the nostrils, like with all love and care. There should be no criticism. You'll find it difficult to start with, but ultimately you'll find that your attention starts obeying you. Because what are we doing? We are basically sending signals to our mind, to our brain. We are sending signals to our brain that, guy, you got to process it this way, and we are kicking in neuroplasticity. And just let me quickly read out as a last thing, Chimu, an observation which I found in the book of Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs was an avid meditator, you see, and he says, if you just sit and observe, you will see how restless your mind is. If you try to calm it, it only makes it worse. But over time, it does calm. And when it does, there's room to hear more subtle things. That is when your intuition starts to blossom and you start to see things more clearly and be in the present more. Your mind just slows down and you see a tremendous expanse in the moment. You see so much more than you could see before. So, Abhijan, I've given you the mantra to see much more than you could see before.
Wow. So profound. Everything that you say has said today is so profound, Sandeep, and it takes time to digest and learn and imbibe all that you have just shared so casually. That means think of the depth of your knowledge. So it is time now to bring our chit chat to a close. Thank you very much for being here with us. I have learned such a lot. I have to go back and listen to the video again because I need to learn and remember all the gems that you have shared in today's talk. So I'm sure all of us will also benefit hugely from going back and looking at the video again because that much of knowledge has been packed in today's show. Thank you so much, Sandeep.
Well, thank you, Chimo. I really enjoyed it. And you have been very nice by praising me so much. Thank you very much. Namaste.
Thank you. So, for all of us here, all the audience, let me just summarize what Sandeep has shared. And he has shared such a lot. What I have learned from this 1 hour is that consciousness has a whole spectrum, and the most highest spectrum is the cosmic personality, and the lowest is called the egoic personality. And we are all built up of three layers: the physical, the vital, mental, and spiritual, and how all these three layers work together in sync, which Sandeep calls the integrated approach, is responsible for our success. We can thrive and succeed as long as all these three layers are in sync and working together. And he also shared some very, very easy tips that all of us can practice to bring out the Buddha in us. Be mindful, stay in the present, and a very quick way of bringing your mind back from wherever it's wandering and getting it to focus. Breathe, focus on your nostrils and your breath. And he also concluded with a beautiful quote from Steve Jobs. I would encourage all of you to read the book which he has recommended. The name of the book is I'll share the book. I'll share the name in a minute. Orbit Shifting, correct, by Rajiv Narang. I definitely aim to go and look it up. So thank you so much. I definitely enjoyed this chat and I learned such a lot. I have to go back and relearn a lot of the stuff that I had assumed. With that, this is Chimu Kuti signing off on behalf of PSAI Talk Show. See you.